Welcome to All the Way Alive. This is a space for the real, the raw, the unfiltered experience of being human. I'm Carolyn, and I'm most definitely not here as a teacher or an expert. I am a fellow traveler fumbling my way through the mess and the magic of life with you. This isn't the bullshit of self-help. It's not about becoming better or fixing anything. This is about truth. It's about risk. It's about letting yourself be seen all the way through. It's about the initiations we go through in love, the ache of purpose, the wild vision, the grief, the ecstasy, the fear, all of it. Here we explore what it means to be all the way alive, to feel, to fall, to fuck it up, to try again, to listen to your body, to mine your own wisdom. There's no finish line, just this moment, just this breath, just this one wild, precious life. Let's go there. Alrighty. So it's been quite a while since I've recorded a podcast episode. Oh, hi, kitty. And a large part of that is because I've been moving and there's been lots and lots of transition and things have shifted. And right now I'm actually sitting in a travel trailer, which is my home for part of the summer anyways, kind of a landing place before anything comes in the fall. And I'll share more about that in a bit. But one of the things that shows up in these transition spaces that I think is so powerful and important and helpful and necessary is this opportunity to look inward and a lot of focus in that space, in that inward and downward way. And so in this episode of the podcast, I want to talk about something that has completely shifted the lens through which I look. And that is around the energy of excitement and how the energy of excitement is unsustainable and essentially leads us to burnout, to overwhelm, to destabilizing the nervous system. And I think this is really important to speak to because so much of our cultural narrative and the ways that we look at how to make decisions and how to approach new possibilities is through this lens of excitement. And so much so that we actually use it as a sales tactic. Oh, my kitty just really wants to be part of this. Hi, this is Fern. And it really taps into this primal part of us that's actually more about fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, rather than something that's deeply rooted and deeply grounded and connected with who we are and our purpose and our truth and the vision that's underneath it all, right? So, yeah, let's dig into it a little bit more. So for as long as I can remember, I have used the energy of excitement to propel me forward in terms of my choices and the actions that I take. I've used it as almost like a diversion, like a tactic that gets me out of any energy of stagnation. So anytime I feel stuck or anytime I felt low or sad or just in a place of uncertainty, really, I would draw on this energy of excitement to get me motivated and moving and onto the next thing and onto the next thing, and then jumping and leaping without, really holding or attending to what was being asked of me before doing so. And yeah, it's interesting because I received a lot of approval for that because many people do struggle with motivation and procrastination And I tended to connect well with those people because I was that energy of initiation and of getting things going and kind of pushing through and making things happen. So I would use this energy of excitement to propel me forward, essentially. And time again, I found that this energy of excitement actually led me to burnout and overwhelm and, ultimately away from my grounded sense of self. And so anytime I made a choice from that space and then took action from there, it was something I had to clean up later. It wasn't really deeply connected to that true vision, that heart truth, that essence of who I am, the design that lives within me. So when we're not connected to that vision, sorry, I'm just laughing because the cats are just having a time. As soon as I sit down to do something, they're like, "Oh, like we want to be involved." Um, yeah. Okay, let's get back to this. So I was having this conversation today about the energy of creation, particularly as it relates to business. And, that is one of the places where I succeeded. I was able to create quite a lot in terms of business over a long period of time. And in more recent years, I've felt like quite disconnected from that energy of pushing and creating and that like initiatory aspect of business. And I couldn't figure out why. And it felt like something was actually like almost like broken in me. And I came to realize that it was actually just me returning to my center, like to that essence of wholeness that exists within me, that design that really is like will not allow me to do something against my nature. And so even if I make a choice and I go down a path and I make it out of this energy of excitement, um, and it kind of takes me a little bit off of center, it's bound to not work because it's not rooted in that energy. So I haven't taken enough time to hold it, to gestate it. And that's really where this conversation went with my dear cousin, actually, Kira. And we were talking about how, the cultural narrative really is business needs to be about pushing and like pressure and put in the work and then you'll get the results. And again, I'm not saying to not put in effort and time and energy, but it's not like a tit for tat. It's not something where you push through in order to get to the other side. When we look at it through a more feminine lens of say creation and gestation, it's more about holding and about nourishing and tending to. Like it's a very different language and even sensations in my body. I think this is the joy and the benefit of being a woman and having the memories of holding children within my womb space is I know what that feels like. There is no power or control that I could wield to make it go faster. There is nothing that I could do to make it turn out the way that I wanted it to turn out. Now, that doesn't mean I didn't have inputs or ability to tend to that vision and to really offer my love and my care and to spend the time each day in reverence and in awe and in supporting myself to be able to hold and to tend to that vision. And so imagine bringing that into the realm of creation or business or anything in life that requires us to really pour ourselves into. Anything of meaning, of worth, really requires us to hold for a period of time. And this is why the energy of excitement is so challenging, because the energy of excitement tells us not to hold. It tells us that holding is uncomfortable. It tells us that the future is better. Let's get there faster. Something's wrong with the now moment. Something's lacking or deficient. And so I can't wait to get there. Or like, I can't wait to get away from here. The energy of excitement always holds that. Um, and the energy of excitement and anxiety are the same in the body. They feel the same. Next time you feel excitement, notice where it is in your body. For me, it's always in my solar plexus and then into my gut. And there's like this unsettled, uneasy feeling. And and I'm not saying to turn away from those feelings when they show up. They're really great indicators and signs and opportunities to get clear and to perhaps hold and to get comfortable with the discomfort. There was this educational program or training that I was in, and anytime somebody would share, like we did this check-in in terms of how we felt at the beginning of each time we gathered. And so it'd be like 2 words of how you feel. And anytime somebody would say like anxious or worried or, something that holds that similar energy, the question would be, well, why would you choose that energy when you could choose the energy of excitement? Because they hold the same energy. And I'd like to go even further and say, well, we don't necessarily choose it. And yes, they are the same, but that's the problem. The problem is that they are the same energy. And so holding them and choosing them, or choosing excitement, like this desire to get somewhere, this desire to get away from something, is a problem also. It doesn't actually fix the issue of anxiety. Yeah, and I speak to that and I share about that as somebody who has experienced a lot of anxiety. And no wonder, like, if excitement was the energy that I knew in order to get through something, and I kept using that to push through, no wonder anxiety showed up as a result. No wonder that excitement energy morphed into anxiety and resulted in overwhelm and panic attacks and dysregulation of my nervous system. No wonder. And so I've been holding this throughout this transition, this curiosity around why I want to push through and make something happen faster than perhaps it wants to do. And for as long as I can remember, I've had this thing with time where I recognize that life is long, that there's so much possibility and so many things that I want to experience and to be part of. And I don't want to let a moment pass me by. Like there's that has existed in my space forever. But I can't say that it's always held with tenderness and with the understanding that the moment is what's important. If I don't want to let the moment pass me by, if I want to experience as much as possible, that doesn't mean that we leave this moment to get to the next, right? It doesn't mean that sitting in this moment more deeply, more heavily, more rooted means that we're going to miss the next moment. And in fact, just based on experience, if I can fully experience this moment as it is right now, the next moment I'm more likely to experience as well. And so we don't get to kind of cherry pick, to pick and choose. Okay, well, I like this moment, so I'm going to rush to get to that one. I got to get over this one. Yeah. And isn't that an interesting thing too, to be claiming some things as good and some things as bad, or some things as desirable and some things as less desirable? Hmm. And the more that I sit in it and the more that I sit with it, the more that I come to recognize that that deep level of satisfaction that my soul actually craves only comes from the holding, only comes from those spaces where I can sit more deeply, where I can, rest my body and my spirit in this moment. And that's really what I crave in essence. Even from friends, from loved ones, from partners, like that's what I crave is a deep level of presence and a deep level of attunement. And that only comes from the ability to sit with what is. The moment that energy of excitement comes in and propels us forward beyond this moment, you know what it's like to sit with somebody when you know that they're looking towards the future, when they're like, okay, I got to get on to the next thing. I can't be here with you right now. I just need to keep moving. Like that doesn't feel great, does it? Like that doesn't make you feel seen or heard. And so, yeah, I'm really attentive to that right now, and attentive to the fact that even when I make choices now, yes, I have the ability to take decisive action. Yes, I've learned how to not allow fears to hold me back from doing things, and that is a challenge for a lot of people. But I need to do it with intentionality, with slowness, with reverence, with containment. And the more that I do that, the more present I am with it, the more that I get to actually experience the depth that this moment allows. Yeah. Hmm. And so anytime this energy of excitement shows up for me now, like I'm learning how to discern between excitement and playfulness, because like I'm just naturally playful. I just naturally enjoy engaging with life. But I know the moment that it moves into excitement or moves into anxiety. And it's always about either trying to get away from something right now, like something that's uncomfortable. Maybe I'm holding discomfort in my body. Or maybe I'm excited about the next moment. I'm like, oh, I just got to get there. Like that is what I need to do. I'm really looking forward to that. Anytime that starts to show up, I pause and I take a moment and I make sure not to make any really big, rash life decisions during that time. And that's fucking hard for me. That's a hard thing to do. Um, I get for some that that's like the natural state is to like hold maybe for too long, but for me it's really uncomfortable. Hmm. And it's offered so much by way of of just honest reflection and possibility and joy. It does mean that more grief shows up. It does mean that I'm more present to the pain and the challenges in my life. It also means that I'm more attentive to the people that I care about. It means that I'm more aware of my own body, my own needs, my own mental health, my own like deep-seated soul needs. And it's offered me this level of patience that I've never had before. And it's helped me to recognize that patience is a practice rather than an inbuilt skill for me. And I remember, with my when I was married before my husband Michael, that was like his thing. He's like, "Can you just be patient?" And I'm like, "Nope, just keep going. I just got to keep going." And like the things that I was able to do because of that, and the approval that I got because of that, is not a sign that I was succeeding, but it was a sign that I was playing the game real well. And it's interesting because my daughter, Avery, is very similar, where she takes on a lot and she gets so excited about a lot of different things. And I'm in such a different stage of life right now where I'm reflecting on, I'm like, whoa, whoa, chica, like slow down, take a beat. And she's like, no, I just got to keep going. And like, it's like looking in a mirror, but with more awareness and life experience. And there's a large part of this that's just like hers to navigate and to experience. And there's nothing like a crash to teach you where your boundaries are and where your edges are. So, I'll just be there. I'll be there to catch her. Um, yeah, but it's fascinating to watch somebody else do it when it's not me. Because what it feels like in my body is like when excitement shows up, it feels like I have to do it. Like I don't have a choice. And so the more that I practice holding it and like asking those questions, like, do I have a choice? Can I hold this for a little bit longer? Can I contain it? Is the next moment really better than this one? Can I fully sink into this moment? Like at any given moment, can I sit here sharing about this and look out my window and see the beauty of the trees that surround me? And can I feel that kind of persistent ache of grief that has been sitting in my chest now for the last week or month? I'm not even sure, as I leave the home that I built and how beautiful it was. And can I hold the uncertainty of what comes next and the tenderness of that? Can I hold it all rather than trying to get away from it in service of something better, of something different? And in the last podcast episode that I shared about grief, I spoke to how joy is an emergent quality of grief. And so the more that we can hold, the more that we recognize that excitement takes us out of present moment, and the more that we can kind of come back into this now moment to be more present and more attuned, the more joy we experience. And so if joy eludes you, that's likely a big part of why. Because when we're seeking to be out of this moment or out of this experience or not feel the grief or the sadness or the challenge or the tenderness, that's bypassing all of the beauty of love and joy that comes with that grief. So yeah. And so I'm just super aware of it. I'm just really aware of this energy of excitement and not making choices from that space. And so I am going slower than I normally do. And maybe it doesn't seem like I am to some people, but I think that's because I haven't like been on social media being like, "Hey, this is what I'm doing," every step of the way. I had a friend say, "Wow, you guys move so fast." I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about? I started packing back in March or February. It's July. Like, how long does it take you to move?" It doesn't usually take people months and months and months, but it did for me because I was slow and intentional and I was processing every step of the way. Mm. Yeah. And what comes next is a dream that I've been holding and tending to. And, I'm not necessarily ready to share it quite yet, but and it will be revealed, a little bit more as I take the steps, as I continue to be present with. And I think perhaps that's part of the fear too, is that like when we hold something, does that mean we're going to get stuck there? Does that mean I'm not going to make it up the other side if I allow myself to feel this? Or will I actually ever do the thing if I allow myself to be in this, like the pause in between? Of course you will. Like you look at the seasons, you look at just the way that plants grow, that again, birthing mothers hold their baby. Like the baby knows when it's time to come out. It's actually not the mother that signals, it's the baby that signals when it's time to be born. And so it's really about that attunement piece. Can we listen? Can we hold it with reverence? Can we continue to nourish ourselves? Yeah. Hmm. So that's all I have to share for now. And I'm actually going to take a little bit more of a pause after this. I share this episode. Going on a bit of a journey up north towards the Yukon and potentially to Alaska. We'll see. And then in August, I have a really beautiful experience, at least planned. At least the start of it's planned. So we'll see. But again, I'm holding this moment as the most important. So that's why I'm not choosing to look forward to those things. Why I'm not choosing to, or I'm choosing not to share about the excitement of what comes next, because now is most important. This moment where I am right now. Yeah. Okay, that's it. That's it for this one. Wishing you so much love, that you feel it, that you receive it, that you sit in it, that you be with it, and all of the blessings that your heart can